Hello and welcome back to our channel. Today we're diving into a fascinating and somewhat surreal topic, Paris syndrome. Have you ever dreamed of visiting Paris? The Eiffel Tower sparkling at night, romantic walks along the Seine, charming cafes on every corner. For many, it's the ultimate dream destination. But what happens when that dream shatters upon arrival? That's where Paris syndrome comes in. Imagine this. You've spent years building up an image of Paris in your mind. A city straight out of a movie, perfect in every way. Then you land, and reality hits. The city is bustling, noisy, maybe a bit grimy in places, and the locals seem, well, not as welcoming as you'd hoped. For a small number of tourists, this clash between fantasy and reality is so severe, it triggers a genuine psychological crisis. Paris syndrome is essentially an extreme form of culture shock. It was first identified in the 1980s by a Japanese psychiatrist, Professor Hiroaki Ota, who noticed a peculiar pattern among Japanese visitors. While it can affect anyone, it seems to be particularly prevalent among Japanese tourists, and we'll explore why in a bit. It's not an officially recognized psychiatric disorder in manuals like the DSM-5, but for those who experience it, the effects are very real. So, what does Paris syndrome actually look like? The symptoms can be surprisingly severe, spanning both the mind and body. Psychologically, individuals might experience acute delusional states, hallucinations, or intense feelings of persecution, believing that people are hostile towards them. They might feel anxious, detached from reality, a state known as derealization, or even feel like they're outside of their own body, which is called depersonalization. It's a profound sense of disillusionment and distress. The physical symptoms can be just as alarming. We're talking about dizziness, a racing heart, profuse sweating, nausea, and even vomiting. In the most extreme cases, the experience is so traumatic that it requires immediate medical help. It's a complete system overload, triggered by the psychological stress of having one's deeply held expectations completely upended. Now you might be wondering, why Paris? And why does it affect Japanese tourists so much? Let's break down the causes. The primary driver is the idealized image of Paris. In Japan, and many other parts of the world, Paris is marketed as the pinnacle of romance, elegance, and beauty. Magazines, films, and advertisements paint a picture of an almost utopian city filled with friendly, impeccably dressed locals living a life of artistic leisure. This creates an incredibly high and, frankly, unrealistic set of expectations. When these visitors arrive, they encounter the reality of any major global metropolis. There's traffic, crowds, and like any city, it has its less glamorous sides. The cultural differences also play a huge role. Japanese culture places a very high value on politeness, social harmony, and exceptional customer service. In contrast, Parisian service culture can be more direct, sometimes perceived as abrupt or even rude by those accustomed to a different standard. This isn't necessarily malice. It's just a different cultural norm of communication. But for someone already feeling overwhelmed, this can feel like a personal attack. Then there's the language barrier. Not being able to communicate effectively can be incredibly isolating. Imagine trying to navigate a complex metro system, order food, or ask for directions when you can't understand anyone and feel like no one understands you. It's a recipe for anxiety and frustration. Finally, we can't forget the simple biological stress of travel. Jet lag, exhaustion from a long-haul flight, and the general fatigue of being in a new, unfamiliar environment all weaken your psychological defenses. When you're tired and disoriented, you're far more vulnerable to culture shock. All these factors, the shattered dream, the cultural clash, the communication barrier, and physical exhaustion, combine to create a perfect storm that can lead to Paris syndrome. The situation can get so serious that the Japanese embassy in Paris has historically operated a 24-hour hotline for its citizens who are struggling. Every year, a handful of tourists, usually around a dozen or so, experience a breakdown so severe that they need to be flown back to Japan, sometimes accompanied by a doctor or nurse. It's a testament to how profoundly the mind can be affected when a cherished fantasy collides with a complex reality. While the name ties it to Paris, this phenomenon isn't exclusive to one city. Similar reactions have been noted in other places. For example, there's Jerusalem syndrome, where visitors to the Holy City become overwhelmed by its religious significance and develop messianic delusions. It highlights a broader human tendency, our powerful need for our expectations to match reality, and the distress that occurs when they don't. So, how can you avoid this? The key is managing expectations. Before you travel anywhere, do your research. Look beyond the glossy travel brochures. Read blogs, watch vlogs from real people living there, and try to get a balanced view of the city: the good, the bad, and the everyday. Learn a few basic phrases in the local language, like hello, please, and thank you. A little effort goes a long way and shows respect for the local culture. Most importantly, go with an open mind. Understand that no city is perfect. Every place has its own rhythm, its own set of customs, and its own challenges. Embrace the differences instead of being frustrated by them. The beauty of travel isn't in finding a place that perfectly matches your fantasy. It's in discovering the authentic, complex, and wonderfully imperfect reality of a new corner of the world. Paris is, without a doubt, a beautiful and incredible city with a rich history and vibrant culture. Millions of people visit every year and have an absolutely wonderful time. Paris syndrome is a rare but important reminder of the power of our minds and the delicate relationship between perception and reality. It teaches us to travel not just with a packed suitcase, but with realistic expectations and an open heart. That's all for today's deep dive. What do you think about Paris syndrome? Have you ever experienced a major culture shock while traveling? Let me know your stories in the comments below. We love hearing from you. If you found this video interesting, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to our channel for more content just like this. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.